Perhaps one of the most monumental inventions in history was the ability to capture a moment in film. But do you know what it actually takes to achieve that? I'm in the process of exploring the early invention of photography by remaking it myself. In one of my videos, I made the crucial ingredient of nitric acid through some help from some chicken droppings. In this video, I'll produce the other crucial ingredient for making photography, silver, with a visit to a living snapshot of history, the ghost town of Cerro Gordo, hopefully allowing me to take a photo with this rock. This camera project has been ongoing for some time and gotten put on the back burner when I started the Reset series. But with the recent chemistry I unlocked, I've now reached the point of revisiting this to finally achieve this final step. I ended up previously extracting silver from a different ghost town several years ago, but that silver unfortunately ended up getting lost in the fire that transpired a few years ago. So Brent and his ghost town offered a great opportunity to acquire some new silver with the hope of making film that I could use to take a photo of his own ghost town using silver from its own mine. So I'm here at Cerro Gordo Mines with Brent, Ghost Town Living. I'm gonna get some silver ore for my camera film.
This is an abandoned mining town from the 1800s. And it was one time the largest silver producer for California. So I try to capture any of the building renovations, mine explorations, silver making, and all that type of stuff. I'll show you around. There's still, back in the day, there used to be about 400 buildings here. There's probably about a dozen left. So we'll look around, duck into a mine, grab some galena, the mineral that we have here. Hopefully that'll help in this film project that I'm really excited about. So here we are, we're at Cerro Gordo. Primary mineral they were mining here back in the day was galena. And galena is a lot of lead, a little bit of silver, some sulfur, some silica, and different items. And they mined that from about 1865 to about 1880 here. And then the town kind of went dormant for a while. And in 1910, a guy named L.D. Gordon came up and he discovered zinc. They started mining zinc here for another 20 years or so. Behind us, the original lead and silver king was named Mortimer Belshaw, and this was his house right there. And then L.D. Gordon, who found the zinc, that was his house over there. And partners with the original owner of Belshaw was a guy named Victor Beaudry. And Beaudry was the guy that owned the original general store here. So at the front of the store was the general store, so pickaxes, anything that people needed. We actually have this that I found in a museum. This is an inventory list for this store back from 1919, which I think is pretty cool, So you got everything from shirts to soap to cutlery. And so in the front was kind of their basic essential items, and in the back was a butcher shop. These days it's kind of our museum, so you have all the dynamite boxes, the different things, and this is a good sample of galena. So this is what we'll hopefully be finding today and refining down. But back in the day up here, when they mined the galena, they brought it down to what they called a base bullion, and they made 80-pound bars. And so you can kind of see over here, this is an example of one of the 80-pound bars. So this is mostly lead and a little bit of silver. And so from my understanding, the reason that they left it still in this form is because two reasons. One, the final bit of the process is the most difficult bit, trying to get the silver out. And then two, bandits were less likely to steal these if they still had lead in them. Because if this were pure silver, then you'd be the target of every bandit, in LA County. Our goal today is this on a smaller scale. So this was originally one of the assay offices here. So the assayer was the guy responsible for determining the value of the ore, or taking a representative sample and trying to figure out how much that deposit might be worth. So what the assayer would have done is he would have taken this, crunched it up, taken a representative sample, so say 100 grams of galena, and at the end, if he ends up with 3 grams of silver, he would do the math and say, hey, on a per ton scale, your claim might be worth this much. For a lot of miners, their dreams came to basically live or die here in an office like this, because they would have been working for months to finally get to their ore, bring it in here, and they wanted to tell how rich it was. And then in an office like this back in the Wild West, there would have been investors hanging around trying to get ear of the next big strike. There would have been bandits trying to do the same thing. And so it would have been kind of buzzing with activity. That is our goal, is to take this, looking for something like this, and take it all the way down to just silver. And this is the Union Mine. So this is the reason that we're kind of all here. It's the reason that the town exists. So this cage over here goes 900 feet straight down, and it's supported by this cable above me. And that cable goes up and then way over there to that spool over there. And over here is the hoist. And it still works, we still use it. And so somebody sits up in this chair and slowly lowers you down using the cable. And they can kind of tell how far down you are by looking at that dial. So those are the different levels of the mine. There's the 86 level, the 200 level, the 400 level, 550, 700, etc. And yeah, if we go in, you know, all of the shelves, all of this wood came from the different levels of the mine. All the flooring, none of the flooring was in here. All the books were sent in by people that watch the channel. Each of them, they spent a lot of time thinking of, you know, curating what book would be good here. It's mostly about like local history, geology, mining, ghost towns, California history, gold country history. And then of course we had to throw each of the different dynamite brands back in here. So yeah, I don't know if it was coincidence or not, but directly next to the assay office was one of the original brothels here at Cerro Gordo. So this was Lola's Palace of Pleasure back in the day. And Lola Travis was the town madame of sorts. And this is one of her cribs. And so there was 3 little rooms, no real thrills. You know, it's a remnant of the past. At the town's peak, there was hundreds of buildings here. And this is Main Street right here. So any flat area that you see used to have a building. And so I think probably the best step from here is to try to go get some silver.
But first, thank you to today's sponsor, BetterHelp. I know from personal experience that there are often times when you need some outside help to help you get through some difficult situations. Trying to handle your struggles on your own is a heavy burden, and getting professional help can be all the difference in the world. Whether through BetterHelp or other avenues, it's incredible how seeking professional help can make a real difference. The very first step of just finding a therapist can be kind of the largest burden to overcome, but today's sponsor, BetterHelp, can make those first steps super easy by connecting you with a licensed therapist best suited for your needs. You can take the first steps by heading to their site, betterhelp.com/htme. BetterHelp matches you with an experienced professional tailored to your needs. The best part, you can engage with your therapist from the comfort of your own space through messaging, phone calls, or video chat. BetterHelp usually matches you within 48 hours, ensuring a swift start to your mental health journey. Let BetterHelp be your guide to a better and happier you. Visit betterhelp.com/htme or choose HTME during your sign up for an exclusive discount on your first month. Remember, mental health matters, and taking that first step is a sign of strength.
All right, so we got our stuff. We're gonna go try some modern mining with a drill, or maybe if needed, some hand steel too. Got our respirators and a little walk this way. We only probably need about 3 pounds of galena to maybe make 5 or 6 grams of silver. And so that's the hope, you know, to get that and then take it down. And so we'll just go around the corner. There's another little prospect. So the black stuff is galena inside of it. So you can kind of, as you hit it, see how it becomes a little bit more sparkly. Yeah. So this is not a lot of galena and a lot of waste rock. So we don't really want that. That's probably why they left it behind. But in there's a pocket that's pretty good of just the galena. And so we'll go back in there, try to get as much of it out as we can, and then go from there. Ooh, careful. So there's some up there. You can kind of see the black stringers through there. That would have been galena and quartz. So if we can take out this black rock in here, I think that's going to leave us with a good amount of the ore. And this is just obviously something that they just left behind. So we'll take that out. You can kind of see the sparkle and probably drill, break some of this out, take it back, and then start the refining. So. Yeah.
Ah, nice piece.
I don't know how much the old-time miners would approve of our electric drills, but the job got done. I think now we'll take it back up towards the main mine here and start the refining process. We got our ore from over in that mine. And so what we'll do is we'll take out all the ore, put it here on this crusher plate. We're gonna crush it all up into a fine powder. We'll add in soda ash and then a little bit of silica, or sand in this case, with a little bit of iron. And we'll put all of that into a crucible. So we'll crush this up, put that in here, put some soda ash in here, put some silica in here, put a little bit of iron in here. Then we heat this up to, 2000 degrees-ish. And then we'll pour it into this cone mold over here. And there, the heavy metals, so the lead and silver, will sink to the bottom. And we'll have the lead and silver in a cone, and we'll break off everything else that's waste rock, anything that isn't lead and silver. And we'll hopefully be left with a little pyramid of lead and silver, at which point we'll see how much that is, and we'll either put it in a cupel, like we were saying, and this will absorb all the lead and leave us behind silver, or we'll do a Parks process.
Sweet.
So that's the ground up galena. So that'll go in.
Now add in the soda ash. So I'll grab that. So this is going to pull out everything that isn't the lead and silver. All right.
So what we're hoping for at the bottom of this is for a lead and silver pyramid. And so you can hit that as hard as you want, and it's malleable because it's lead, and the slag should just flake off. So first step is flipping this. And so you can tell, like this, for instance, this is just slag. So slag, when you hit it, will just break up into pieces. And hopefully this, so see how that's all just breaking? So that's slag. See how that went like that? Oh. That'll show, so this little cone at the bottom, this is lead and silver. So if you hit it, see how it's, we'll break it up, see the lead below it. So all this slag, so you can see how that, it is hitting it instead of flaking off. So we still have to flake off a little bit of the slag over here, but this is just down to lead and silver. So in this other stuff would have been any of the waste material, the rock, the silica, any of that was in the other rock is now gone. So we're down to just, I mean, you can tell pretty much just lead and silver. And so from here, we need to get the lead out of here and the silver. And so that's the hard part of the process. But this hunk of lead and silver. So now we're in the cupellation process where we're trying to get the lead to oxidize out. And so you can see in here, there's the molten lead. And so it needs a little more oxygen. So I'm gonna fan it for a little bit to give it a little more oxygen, but you can see what we're trying to do is to get all the enough oxygen in there where the lead will oxidize away and leave behind the silver. So I'm gonna fan it a little bit. Okay.
Back home, Brent gave me a chunk of ore to try and extract myself. My intention was to try and follow the ancient method of silver extraction. But ironically, I learned that this method was pretty much exactly the same as what I did with Brent. a method that has surprisingly stayed the same for almost all of history. For this method, we'll need to burn some bones to make the cupels. How somebody figured out that bone ash would separate lead from silver, I'll never guess. After burning the bones, we pulverize them into a powder. Next, we did the same for the rock ore I brought back from Cerro Gordo. Then, with a mixture of flux, we melted down the ore. Then cast it into a mold so we could separate the impurities from the lead-silver alloy. Next, just to make sure I did things correctly, I used some store-bought cupels to separate the silver from the lead. With that success, I then made my own cupels from the bone ash and proceeded with the rest of the alloy, along with some more store-bought cupels, just to be safe. In the end, the homemade cupels I made ended up proving to work pretty much just as well. I had some issue with some test batches early on cracking a lot, so I figured if I just keep them in an actual container, that'd kind of help it work. It seemed to work pretty good. So I was able to extract a lot of the lead from all of these. I now have a pretty decent supply of silver. Honestly, I don't need a ton of silver for this project. Each of these should be more than plenty to produce a single piece of film. So this should give me a lot of opportunities now to actually manufacture that. At this point, there's now a few different paths I can take for producing my own form of early photography. But I mostly have the crucial two ingredients that I need, which is nitric acid and silver. The other crucial ingredient I will need is some sort of halide. And that can come from chlorine, table salts, or iodine from seaweed. And I actually ended up doing that in Canada and brought back a bunch of seaweed many years now. So it'll be interesting to try and extract some iodine from that. So the next step is actually going to be fairly challenging, and it's part of why it's taken so many years. It's going to take a lot of trial and error and potentially losing the ingredients. Hopefully we'll be achieving that soon in the upcoming future. Then I can return to Cerro Gordo to take an actual photo using the silver from the mines itself. It was really great connecting with Brent and including him on this project. Last year at Open Sauce, I was able to have a panel with him and answer questions from everybody. And that was a lot of fun. So hopefully I can catch all of you who are able to make it there. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thank you to all my sponsors on Patreon. Without you, it wouldn't be possible to pursue such a long-term projects as the camera project. So thank you again. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and check out other content we have covering a wide variety of topics. Also, if you've enjoyed these series, consider supporting us on Patreon. We are largely a fan-funded channel and depend on the support of our viewers in order to keep our series going. Thanks for watching.